Beth Fisher. Welcome to our reading today. This is 4th Maccabees 13 through 17. Since then, the 7 brothers despised sufferings, even unto death. Everyone must concede that devout reason is sovereign over the emotions. For if they had been slaves of their emotions and had eaten defiling food, we would say that they had been conquered by these emotions. But in fact, it was not so. Instead, by reason, which is praised before God, they prevailed over their emotions. The supremacy of the mind over these things cannot be overlooked. For the brothers mastered both emotions and pains. How then can one fail to confess the sovereignty of right reason over emotion in those who were not just turned back by fiery agonies? For just as towers jutting out over harbors hold back the threatening waves and make it calm for those who sail into the inner basin, so the 7-towered right reason of the youths, by fortifying the harbor of religion, conquered the tempest of the emotions. For they constituted a holy chorus of religion and encouraged one another, saying, "Brothers, let us die like brothers for the sake of the law. Let us imitate the 3 youths in Assyria who despised the same ordeal of the furnace. Let us not be cowardly in the demonstration of our piety. While one said, 'Courage, brother,' another said, 'Bear up nobly.' And another reminded them, 'Remember whence you came, and the father by whose hand Isaac would have submitted to being slain for the sake of religion.' Each of them, and all of them together, looking at one another, cheerfully and undaunted, said, 'Let us with all our hearts consecrate ourselves to God, who gave us our lives, and let us use our bodies as a bulwark for the law. Let us not fear him who thinks he is killing us, for great is the struggle of the soul and the danger of eternal torment, lying before those who transgress the commandment of God. Therefore, let us put on the full armor of self-control, which is divine reason. For if we so die, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob will welcome us, and all the fathers will praise us. Those who were left behind said to each of the brothers who were being dragged away, 'Do not put us to shame, brother, or betray the brothers who have died before us. You are not ignorant of the affection of family ties, which the divine and all-wise providence has bequeathed through the fathers to their descendants, and which was implanted in the mother's womb.' There each of the brothers spent the same length of time and was shaped during the same period of time, and growing from the same blood and through the same life, they were brought to the light of day. When they were born after an equal time of gestation, they drank milk from the same fountains. From such embraces, brotherly loving souls are nourished, and they grow stronger from this common nurture and daily companionship, and from both general education and our discipline in the law of God. Therefore, when sympathy and brotherly affection had been so established, the brothers were more sympathetic to one another. Since they had been educated by the same law and trained in the same virtues, and brought up in a right living, they loved one another all the more. A common zeal for nobility strengthened their goodwill toward one another and their concord, because they could make their brotherly love more fervent with the aid of their religion. But although nature and companionship and virtuous habits had augmented the affection of family ties, those who were left endured for the sake of religion, while watching their brothers be maltreated and tortured to death. Furthermore, they encouraged them to face the torture, so that they not only despised their agonies, but also mastered the emotions of brotherly love. O reason, more royal than kings, and freer than the free! O sacred and harmonious concord of the 7 brothers on behalf of religion! None of the 7 youths proved coward or shrank from death, but all of them, as though running the course toward immortality. None of the 7 youths proved coward or shrank from death, but all of them, as though running the course toward immortality, hastened to death by torture. Just as the hands and feet are moved in harmony with the guidance of the mind, so these holy youths, as though moved by an immoral spirit of devotion, agreed to go to death for its sake. O most holy 7 brothers in harmony! For just as the 7 days of creation move in choral dance around religion, so these youths, forming a chorus, encircled the 7-fold fear of tortures and dissolved it. Even now we ourselves shudder as we hear of the suffering of these young men. They not only saw what was happening, not only heard the direct word of the threat, but also bore the sufferings patiently, and in agonies of fire at that. What could be more excruciatingly painful than this? For the power of fire is intense and swift, and it consumed their bodies quickly. Do not consider it amazing that reason had full command over these men in their tortures, since the mind of women despised even more diverse agonies. For the mother of the 7 young men bore up under the rackings of each one of her children. Observe how complex is a mother's love for her children, which draws everything toward an emotion felt in her inmost parts. Even unreasoning animals, as well as human beings, have a sympathy and parental love for their offspring. For example, among birds, the ones that are tame protect their young by building on the housetops, and the others by building in precipitous chasms and in holes and tops of trees, hatch the nestlings and ward off the intruder. If they are not able to keep the intruder away, they do what they can to help their young by flying in circles around them in anguish of love, warning them with their own calls. And why is it necessary to demonstrate sympathy for children by example of the unreasoning animals, since even bees at the time for making honeycombs defend themselves against intruders, and as though with an iron dart sting those who approach their hive and defend it even to the death? But sympathy for her children did not sway the mother of the young men. She was of the same mind as Abraham. O reason of the children, tyrant over emotions! O religion, more desirable to the mother than her children! 2 courses were open to this mother, that of religion, and that of preserving her 7 sons for a time, as the tyrant had promised. She loved religion more, the religion that preserves them for eternal life, according to God's promise. In what manner might I express the emotions of parents who love their children? We impress upon the character of the small child a wondrous likeness, both of mind and of form. Especially is this true of mothers who, because of their birth pangs, have a deeper sympathy toward their offspring than do the fathers. Considering that mothers are the weaker sex and give birth to many, they are more devoted to their children. The mother of the 7 boys, more than any other mother, loved her children. In 7 pregnancies she had implanted in herself tender love towards them. Because of the many pains she suffered with each of them, she had sympathy for them. Yet because of the fear of God, she disdained the temporary safety of her children. Not only so, but also because of the nobility of her sons and their ready obedience to the law, she felt a greater tenderness toward them. For they were righteous and self-controlled and brave and magnanimous, and loved their brothers and their mother, so that they obeyed her even to death in keeping the ordinances. Nevertheless, so many factors influenced the mother to suffer with them out of love for her children. In the case, none of them were the various tortures strong enough to pervert her reason. But each child separately and all of them together, the mother urged on to death for religion's sake. O sacred nature and affection of parental love, yearning of parents towards offspring, nurture and indomitable suffering by mothers. This mother, who saw them tortured and burned one by one because of the religion, did not change her attitude. She watched the flesh of her children being consumed by fire, their toes and fingers scattered on the ground, and the flesh of the head to the chin exposed like masks. O mother, tried now by more bitter pains than even the birth pangs you suffered for them. O woman, who alone gave birth to such complete devotion, when the firstborn breathed his last, it did not turn you aside, nor when the second, in torments, looked at you piously, nor when the third expired, nor did you weep when you looked in the eyes of each one in his tortures, gazing boldly at the same agonies, and saw in their nostrils the signs of the approach of death. When you saw the flesh of children burned upon the flesh of other children, severed hands upon hands, scalped heads upon heads, and corpses fallen on other corpses. And when you saw the place filled with many spectators of torturings, you did not shed tears. Neither the melodies of sirens nor the songs of swans attract the attention of their hearer. Neither the melodies of the sirens nor the songs of swans attract the attention of their hearers, as did the voices of the children in torture calling to their mother. How great and how many torments the mother then suffered, as her sons were tortured on the wheel and with the hot irons. But devout reason, giving her heart a man's courage in the very midst of her emotions, strengthened her to disregard, for the time, her parental love. Although she witnessed the destruction of 7 children and the ingenious and various rackings, this noble mother disregarded all these because of faith in God. For as in the council chamber of her own soul, she saw mighty advocates, nature, family, parental love, and the rackings of her children, this mother held 2 ballots, one bearing death and one deliverance for her children. She did not approve the deliverance that would preserve the 7 sons for a short time, but as the daughter of God-fearing Abraham, she remembered his fortitude. O mother of the nation, vindicator of the law, and champion of religion, who carried away the prize of the contest in your heart. O more noble than males in steadfastness, and more courageous than men in endurance. Just as Noah's ark, carrying the world in the universal flood, stoutly endured the waves, so you, O guardian of the law, overwhelmed from every side by the flood of your emotions and the violent winds, the torture of your sons endured nobly and withstood the wintry storms that assail religion. If then a woman advanced in years, the mother of 7 sons, endured seeing her children tortured to death, it must be admitted that devout reason is sovereign over the emotions. Thus I have demonstrated not only that men have ruled over the emotions, but also that a woman has despised the fiercest tortures. The lions surrounding Daniel were not so savage, nor was the raging fiery furnace of Mishael so intensely hot, as was her innate parental love, inflamed as she saw her 7 sons tortured in such varied ways. But the mother quenched so many and such great emotions by devout reason. Consider this also. If this woman, though a mother, had been faint-hearted, she would have mourned over them and perhaps spoken as follows: "Oh, how wretched am I, and many times unhappy! After bearing 7 children, I am now the mother of none. O 7 childbirths, all in vain, 7 profitless pregnancies, fruitless nurturings, and wretched nursings. In vain, my sons, I endured many birth pangs for you, and more grievous anxieties of your upbringing. Alas, for my children, some unmarried, others married, and without offspring. I shall not see your children, or have the happiness of being called grandmother. Alas, I, who had so many and beautiful children, am a widow and alone, with many sorrows, and when I die, I shall have none of my sons to bury me. Yet that holy and God-fearing mother did not wail with such a lament for any of them, nor did she dissuade any of them from dying, nor did she grieve as they were dying. On the contrary, as though having a mind like adamant and giving rebirth for immortality to the whole number of her sons, she implored them and urged them on to death for the sake of religion. O mother, soldier of God in the cause of religion, elder and woman, by steadfastness you have conquered even a tyrant, and in word and deed you have proved more powerful than a man. For when you and your sons were arrested together, you stood and watched Eleazar being tortured, and said to your sons in the Hebrew language, My sons, noble is the contest to which you are called, to bear witness for the nation. Fight zealously for our ancestral law, for it would be shameful if, while an aged man endures such agonies for the sake of religion, you young men were to be terrified by tortures. Remember that it is through God that you have had a share in the world and have enjoyed life. And therefore you ought to endure any suffering for the sake of God. For his sake also, our father Abraham was zealous to sacrifice his son Isaac, the ancestor of our nation. And when Isaac saw his father's hand wielding a knife and descending upon him, he did not cower. Daniel, the righteous, was thrown into the lions, and Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael were hurled into the fiery furnace and endured it for the sake of God. You too must have the same faith in God and not be grieved. It is unreasonable for people who have religious knowledge not to withstand pain. By these words, the mother of the 7 encouraged and persuaded each of her sons to die rather than violate God's commandment. They knew also that those who die for the sake of God live to God, as do Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all the patriarchs. Some of the guard said that when she also was about to be seized and put to death, she threw herself into the flames so that no one might touch her body. O mother, who with your 7 sons nullified the violence of the tyrant, frustrated his evil designs, and showed the courage of your faith. Nobly set like a roof on pillars of your sons, you held firm and unswerving against the earthquake of the tortures. Take courage, therefore, O holy-minded mother, maintaining firm and enduring hope in God. The moon in the heaven with the stars does not stand so august as you, who, after lighting the way of your star-like 7 sons to piety, stand in honor before God, and are firmly set in heaven with them. For your children were true descendants of Father Abraham. If it were possible for us to paint the history of your religion as an artist might, would not those who first beheld it have shuddered as they saw the mother of the 7 children enduring their varied tortures to death for the sake of religion? Indeed, it would be proper to inscribe on their tomb these words as to remember the people of our nation. Here lie buried an aged priest and an aged woman and 7 sons, because of the violence of the tyrant who wished to destroy the way of life of the Hebrews. They vindicated their nation, looking to God and enduring torture, even to death. Truly, the contest in which they were engaged was divine. For on that day, virtue gave the awards and tested them for their endurance. The prize was immortality in endless life. Eleazar was the first contestant. the mother of the 7 sons, entered the competition, and the brothers contended. The tyrant was the antagonist, and the world and the human race were spectators. Reverence for God was victor and gave the crown to its own athletes. Who did not admire the athletes of the divine legislation? Who were not amazed? The tyrant himself and all his council marveled at their endurance, because of which they now stand before the divine throne and live the life of eternal blessedness. For Moses says, "All who are consecrated are under your hands." These then, who have been consecrated for the sake of God, are honored, not only with this honor, but also by the fact that because of them, our enemies did not rule over our nation. The tyrant was punished, and the homeland purified, they having become, as it were, a ransom for the sin of our nation. And through the blood of those devout ones, and their death as an astonishing sacrifice, divine providence preserved Israel that previously had been mistreated. For the tyrant Antiochus, when he saw the courage of their virtue and their endurance under the tortures, proclaimed them to his soldiers as an example for their own endurance. And this made them brave and courageous for infantry battle and siege, and he ravaged and conquered all his enemies. Revelation 4. After this I looked, and there was an open door in heaven. The first voice I heard was like a trumpet speaking with me, saying, "Come up here, and I will show you things which must take place after this." Immediately I was in the Spirit, and there was a throne set in heaven, with one sitting on the throne. And he who sat there appeared like a jasper and a sardis stone. There was a rainbow around the throne, appearing like an emerald. 24 thrones were around the throne. And I saw 24 elders sitting on the thrones, clothed in white garments. They had crowns of gold on their heads. Lightnings and thunderings and voices proceeded from the throne. 7 lamps of fire were burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of God. Before the throne was a sea of glass like crystal. In the midst of the throne and around the throne were 4 living creatures, covered with eyes in front and back. The first living creature was like a lion, the second living creature like a calf. The third living creature had a face like a man, and the fourth creature was like a flying eagle. The 4 living creatures had 6 wings each, and they were covered with eyes all around. All day and all night, without ceasing, they were saying, "Holy, holy, holy, Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come." When the living creatures gave glory and honor and thanks to him who sits on the throne, who lives forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him who sits on the throne and worship him, who lives forever and ever. Then they cast their crowns before the throne, saying, "You are worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for you have created all things, and by your will they exist and were created." Psalm 4. Hear me when I call, O God of my righteousness. You have given me relief when I was in distress. Have mercy on me and hear my prayer. O people, how long will you turn my glory into shame? How long will you love vanity and seek after lies? Selah. Know that the Lord set apart the faithful for himself. The Lord hears when I call to him. Tremble in awe and do not sin. Commune with your own heart on your bed and be still. Offer sacrifices of righteousness and trust in the Lord. Many are saying, "Who will show us any good?" Lift up the light of your face over us. You have placed gladness in my heart. This is better than when their gain and their new wine abound. I will both lie down in peace and sleep. For you, Lord, make me dwell safely and securely. Proverbs 4. Hear, O children, the instruction of a father, and attend to know understanding. For I give you good precepts. Do not forsake my teaching. For I was my father's son, tender and the only beloved in the sight of my mother. He also taught me and said to me, let your heart retain my words. Keep my commandments and live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget, nor turn away from the words of my mouth. Do not forsake her, and she will preserve you. Love her, and she will keep you. Wisdom is principal, therefore, get wisdom. And with all your getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she will promote you. She will bring honor when you embrace her. She will place on your head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory she will deliver to you. Hear, my son, and receive my sayings, and the years of your life will be many. I have taught you in the way of wisdom. I have led you in right paths. When you walk, your steps will not be hindered, and when you run, you will not stumble. Take firm hold of instruction. Do not let her go. Keep her, for she is your life. Do not enter the path of the wicked, and do not go in the way of evil men. Avoid it. Do not travel on it. Turn from it and pass on. For they do not sleep unless they have done mischief. Their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just is as the shining light that shines more and more onto the perfect day. The way of the wicked is as darkness. They do not know at what they stumble. My son, attend to my words. Incline your ear to my sayings. Do not let them depart from your eyes. Keep them in the midst of your heart, for they are life to those who find them, and health to all their body. Keep your heart with diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Put away from you a deceitful mouth, and put perverse lips far from you. Let your eyes look right on, and let your eyelids look straight before you. Ponder the path of your feet, and let all your ways be established. Do not turn to the right or to the left. Remove your foot from evil. And thus ends the reading for today. Never walk alone.